Alright, so I have the roof all sealed up. I used that Sikaflex 221 on all of these seams going side to side, from front to back. And then I came back with the Dynaflex Ultra, and I used it on all of my edges, all the way around. So every seam, every staple has been sealed up. And then I'm also going to come back once I'm able to get this thing out of the garage, and I'm going to put a coat of that duct coat liquid roof up here. I have some left over from that last plywood camper build that I did. It was some really good stuff. It's $280 for 5 gallons, and it says on there that it stands up to ponding water. So I'm going to go ahead and add that up here as well, just as an additional coat of sealant. And I'll do that over the entire top of this thing. I have all of my corners sealed up. All of my joints where my trim meets together. And then I also sealed around the door, which I have to go and finish the bottom half, but I sealed up here all the way around the top of this. And I'm probably going to go ahead and seal around the outside of this. And same thing on the windows. I'm going to seal around the outsides of that as well. And possibly even seal where these screws go in, just to make sure that I don't have any water getting in there. These have sealant behind them, but I'm going to go ahead and add some to the outside edge just to make sure nothing seeps in it. I got a couple little spots on my aluminum that I need to fix still, where those open areas were, where I forgot to cut the curve right. Alright, so I ripped all the sheet metal off the front 3 corners of this thing that I had originally put on here. I just couldn't get a good bend on this stuff, and I wasn't happy with it. Couldn't get a nice clean line out of it on my corners. And I had to staple it on there to hold it down, and it just didn't look good. So I'm going to use the same stuff that I used up top on the front 3 edges. This is just a scrap piece that I had just set up on there. I'm going to have to go buy 3 more pieces, which isn't a big deal. This stuff was $10 for 10 feet. So, but I'm going to use this on all my front corners, and that will give me a nice crisp edge on everything, and it'll look 10 times better. So I don't know why I didn't do that to begin with, but hindsight's 20/20, I guess. Same thing over on this corner. So where these staples were, I'll have to go through and patch those up, which I'm going to use probably some 2-part epoxy, something I could sand and actually make those areas flat again. So you'll never know that these were there. But that's the plan. So here it is with my front 3 corners redone with this 3x3 trim. Everything is sealed up. I went around and sealed all around the top, all the way down both sides where that trim meets the sheet metal. Probably didn't need to do that, but I went ahead and did it anyway. I mean, gravity is going to drag all the water downward as it comes over the edge of that flashing, but I went ahead and sealed that bottom edge anyways. Windows are sealed all the way around on both sides. The door frame is sealed all the way around on the outside. Same thing back here on these corner pieces. I sealed all the edges of those. It may have hurt it a little bit cosmetically with me putting sealant on all that, but I'd rather sacrifice a little bit of that to make sure no water gets in there. So I got quite a bit of money invested in this at this point. So I want to make sure none of that Luan or any of that underneath there gets wet. So anyways, that part's done. The next thing is going to be to epoxy some of these staple holes I have up here from where I had that other trim on. See right here. So I'm going to epoxy those and sand those down smooth to where they're not visible. And then get the door in, and we're going to start painting. So once I get the paint on the outside of this, it's going to look a lot better. Everything's going to be one color.